Alrighty guys, what is going on? Welcome back to the Best Investing Money Management channel on YouTube. In today's video, we are going to be talking about should you buy oil or did we miss the move? So I hope you guys enjoy it. If you guys get anything in value out of this video, make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, let me know down below. Also guys, we did drop the price from our course from $99 all the way to $15. And really talking about how to properly invest in the market. So make sure you guys check that out down below. So what's going on with oil? Well, you may notice a couple of things. The very first thing you may have noticed is this massive move where pretty much oil went from about $65 all the way to as low as about $6.50. Now, you might have noticed this was in 2020 during all of the lockdowns, okay? Understand that. All the lockdowns, people aren't driving, right? Because they're in lockdown. Another thing you might realize is this massive spike, right, towards the end here. So there's this thing called supply and demand, right? When there's a lot of supply and no demand, what happens is the price of whatever that may be falls down just because there's so much supply. You know, people and companies need to get that product and sell it to move inventory. The second thing is when there is so much demand and not enough supply, what happens is the price goes up. The reason why is because there's demand for it. People want it, so they are willing to pay that premium. So kind of that's what we're experiencing right here. So you can see during this time of all the lockdowns, like I said, so much supply just because it was overnight where people just couldn't drive. And then over here was during the Russia and Ukraine situation that we still have going on, where the U.S. came out and said, all right, well, yes, Russia, we do import oil from Russia, and we are pausing that due to the conflict going over with Russia and Ukraine. And people freaked out, okay, just because Russia does supply oil. And so people were nervous saying, okay, well, if Russia's supplying oil, there's going to be less supply in the same demand, causing things to go up, which it did do. But honestly, at the end of the day, if we notice this move, oil was going up anyways, right? It did have this steady upward trend. It's not like we were coming off of a sell-off and this thing just skyrocketed. We had this steady upward trend. So it was honestly just a matter of time before we saw these prices, to be honest. Now, obviously, right now they're finally starting to settle down. But answering that main question, should you buy oil? Oil stocks, future, obviously we all need gas to get to our jobs and get around town. But should you invest in oil? Well, oil has always been a commodity. People always need oil just because it fuels the U.S. economy. But if we look at the chart here, you can see that it doesn't have a lot of growth, right? I think when you invest in oil, pretty much there's opportunity cost with it, right? So what that means is when you invest in oil, is that the best place your money can be? Me personally, I would rather invest in the S&P 500, in high growth stocks, and even dividend stocks, just because I understand those are going to have a better ROI on oil. Another thing, now, should you buy it right now? Because of the move. Well, I definitely think right now the train kind of already left. The train already left the station for the major moves, right? News already came out. People already had that FOMO, had that greed, had all their emotions, and kind of any reaction in the market is kind of an overreaction. And that's kind of what we saw where this thing popped up. People realized, well, Russia, yes, they import oil, but it's only it only counts for about 2 to 7% of all of U.S. oil. So causes it to sell back down. It causes it to fall back down. If we look at other oil stocks like ExxonMobil, we'll see a very similar chart where this thing popped up. People realized what's going on, and it just sold back down because of the emotions that the market plays. But yes, we do have that upward trend. I definitely think the next couple of earnings for a certain number of stocks will most likely be better than usual because people still need gas and they no one could have predicted what kind of happened with Russia and Ukraine. But for me, I am staying away from oil stocks, pretty much any oil investments, just because I definitely think there's way too much speculation right now with it. And I think there's better opportunity elsewhere in the market, especially if we just look at the S&P 500. You can see we've had this beautiful upward trend. It sold off. For me, this is an absolute for sale sign for me to pick up a couple of shares of this, just because I understand it has that general upward trend. If we go to let's just say the 10-year chart, look at that growth. It's fantastic. That's what I wish oil had. That would make it more interesting for me. So guys, that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe. We'll see you later. Take care.